Evangolution, this is Cerebulon, and I wanted to respond to your scientific evidence that supports Creationism 3 of 3. First off, trilobites were neither the first organism nor were they the most complex organism to emerge. They didn't have the most complex eyes ever created, they had the most complex eyes at the end of the Cambrian era. Most insect eyes today are superior to theirs, and our eyes are absolutely superior to theirs. Humans are not living shorter lifespans. The only place you will find people living hundreds of years is in the Bible. No other mythology mentions people living hundreds of years. The average life expectancy is 85. What that means can be illustrated by my grandmother and father. My grandmother lived to be 98 years old. My dad died when he was 67. If you average those ages, you get about 80-some years. That's what average life expectancy means. There are still people today who live up to around, I think, 125. They're always in the news. There was a lady in France who was about 122 about 4 years ago. And, of course, she died, and there's some new guy now. But, yeah, I mean, that doesn't change too much. Evolution has nothing to do with things getting better or worse. Evolution has to do with things being better adapted to their environment. For instance, the dodo bird. It was perfectly suited for its environment. It couldn't fly, it couldn't run, and it was stupid as hell. But for where it lived, it was perfectly evolved. Until another species, us, altered its environment, and it went extinct because it couldn't adapt fast enough. You talk about how we haven't been able to create a camera that's superior to our eyes. But we have created cameras that are superior. Our lens technology is so advanced that we can clearly view license plates from orbit. No human eye can do that. We have cameras that see ultraviolet and heat, and no human eye can do that either. We also have HD cameras that you can buy that record more colors than we can see. Also, you mentioned how crappy our eyes are and how some of us need glasses. If we were created, no one would need glasses. But since we evolved randomly, many eyes are not perfect and don't function at their best, in humans or animals. The geologic column is not determined by the fossils found in its layers. Rather, it's dated by radiometric dating. The geologic column is not crap by any means. In fact, if you'd like, you can go outside and dig down a few feet and see it for yourself. The first layer below the grass is topsoil, under that will be a lighter shade, and under that will be clay and probably rocks, etc. It's like that for many miles down, layer after layer of dirt compressed into rock. Alternately, you're going to see millions of years of those layers in the Grand Canyon, or like Dinosaur Valley State Park, or any place. I mean, it's right there for you to see. The coelacanth is only exploited because we thought them extinct. The cockroach has been around since before the coelacanth, but nobody cares about them. You talk about the beneficial mutations, and you mentioned sickle cells and how it prevents malaria, and then say that if you lived in an area without malaria, the sickle cells would stop being beneficial and start being harmful. And you're dead on. You're dead on both counts, but you missed the point. The point is that sickle cells are a beneficial adaptation to a specific environment. That's natural selection. That's evolution. That's the dodo bird. Babies born with sickle cell in Africa survive where babies without it die. Many of those people only live to be about 30 or so because of the sickle cells. But that's still long enough for them to breed. And that's the whole point of how evolution works. It has nothing to do with being the smartest or the fastest or the best. It has everything to do with being the best suited for your environment. That's why so many species keep going extinct throughout history. That's why we have these screwed up random mutations like Siamese twins and cancer, because of random small changes. If everything was created, everything would be perfect for all environments and nothing would have ever gone extinct. Vestigial structures. Why would we lose tail information that's supposed to be beneficial? Well, what good would a tail be if you're sitting in front of a computer all day? And how many trees have you been in lately, T2? I haven't been in any. We lost the tail, but gained the ability to walk upright and have bigger brains to play Warcraft. It's a fair trade in my book. Whales evolved from a wolf-like predator, and it did not have stick legs, and was built somewhat like an alligator. Whales have a complete arm structure in their fins, with wrist bones and elbows and individual fingers. There is no reason for that structure to be in an aquatic animal. Not one species of fish has anything similar to that. The only animals with any of those bones are land animals. And once again, whales and cows are not related. Here we go with Hovland. That quote Hovland likes to use from Darwin is always taken out of context and is never the full quote. Darwin was saying that for the eye, as it is, to have come about through natural selection is absurd. But then he followed that by 3 pages detailing how simple photosensitive cells would have gradually become the complex eyes we have today. Darwin did not think the evolution of the eye was impossible, only that it couldn't have simply appeared out of nothing. It's the same as thinking some child might be born with wings tomorrow. It's impossible, but a child might be born with slightly webbed fingers. No one would even notice the slight change. But 10 million years later, his descendants might be flying around. That's what he's talking about. Hovland is full of crap. If he said what was true about the blood vessels in the eyes, then whales would not have blood vessels in front of their eyes since they live in the water. But they do. Know why? Because they came from land animals, which all have a common ancestor with a backwards formed eye. I would disagree that it takes as much sense. It makes as much sense for a creator to have created things as for things to happen by chance. If a creator made everything, there wouldn't be species going extinct, or mutations, or deformities, or even retarded people. There would be at least some level of quality control. But there's none, and it makes more sense that things are randomly mutating every once in a long while, and something good comes out of it. You mentioned Haeckel's theory of recapitulation and the gill slits as a way to disprove evolution and discredit evolutionary scientists. However, Haeckel's story does more to support our current understanding of evolution than to discredit it. You see, Haeckel's theory went through the scientific process, the same one that evolution goes through daily, and it was rejected by other scientists as more information came to light. If new information does come to light that disproves evolution, evolution will be rejected. But nothing new has been observed so far to change the theory. You mentioned that you were once taught Haeckel's theory, and I don't doubt you. It was taught for many years, and it was wrong. But just because one theory is wrong doesn't mean they all are. That it was proved wrong does not disprove evolution. It only disproves the theory of recapitulation. To discount evolution because of recapitulation would be the same as discounting physics because it was once taught you could not hit a round ball with a round bat. That notion was proven wrong, but physics wasn't.